up off that neck. Give me that. To the trends. CLE be the band.
Evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Who Will Be King. I have a group of my NFC North comrades, and we're back with another week. But how are you guys doing?
Feeling good, fresh off a W. It's always a good week when you're fresh off a W.
All right. Dave, what you got going on?
Well, I can tell you, I agree with that. It's good after a fresh W, but
no shade to anybody else there.
Didn't have
no
one.
shade to anybody else.
Right. All right. So the NFC North as a whole went 3-1, and we will leave it to Mr. OGQ to set it off with a recap of how the Chicago Bears did this week.
Well, we faced New Orleans Saints, a team that's been struggling. Looked like, I would say they were tanking for Archie, but Archie looks like he wants no parts of being number one pick next year based on his performance this season thus far. Up and down game. It was a game that I felt very strongly that the Bears would win. I wanted to see them look clean and kind of jump on an opponent that should be jumped on. I think you're at home against the Saints. You want to establish yourself as a good team. These are the games where you got to assert your dominance. You got to make it where it's not even close. I don't think the game was necessarily close, but it was far from clean. Caleb struggled with his accuracy. I think he was 15 for 26. The run game kind of took over. He leaned on that. Caleb also threw a pick, an ugly pick, because he stared down Rome coming out of his, from the minute that the ball was snapped, and he stared him down on the break and corner cut him on a deep out. The defense played really well. I believe it was 3 turnovers. They got to Spencer Rattler 3 times and created a lot of pressure. Dennis Allen really turned up the pressure on Rattler. Defense did what it was supposed to do, held them to 14 points. The offense scored 26. The Bears are the only team in the NFL to score over 21 in each of their games. So that's a positive note. Overall, just a win is a win. The NFL it's hard to get wins, but I would have liked a cleaner performance. I would have liked the offense to look more in rhythms, particularly the passing game, but we'll take the win. 4-2, first 4-game win streak since the Nagy era, and we're in the thick of things for the division. Bear down.
Well, I noticed Swift is running like he's young, like almost when he was with Detroit. What has caused that?
Probably the fact that Ben Johnson is the one that sent him out of Detroit. He knows he better get his act together. Kyle Monangai emerging. But seriously, I think some of the moves on the offensive line, I think that's had a lot to do with the run game. And the Bears, people forget, the Bears are starting four out of the 5 guys on the offensive line are first-time starters for this team. They acquired Joe Thuney in the offseason. They signed Drew Dahlman. They traded for Jonah Jackson. Theo Benedict is a second-year player and originally from Canada, and he missed all of last year. So he took over for Braxton Jones a couple weeks ago. So it was always going to take time for the offensive line to gel. The offensive line is not one of those units where you could throw them together, and even if they're good guys, they'll be in sync. And it's a rhythm thing. You got to learn the guy next to you. So I think it was more about the offensive line gelling, DeAndre Swift and Ben Johnson learning what DeAndre Swift does well. DeAndre Swift is not one of those guys where he's real creative behind the line of scrimmage or has good vision where he sees the hole. So it's best getting DeAndre Swift in space on the perimeters where, hey, you got one cut, turn up field. When you get DeAndre Swift to the second level, he's a dangerous man. When he's decisive and running north-south, he's a very dangerous man. He can also make you miss in the open field. So I think they've just done a better job of utilizing DeAndre Swift, getting his speed to the edges, using a lot of pre-snap motion, determining if the defense is in zone or is in man, and using that pre-snap motion to confuse the defense to keep them honest. So I think they've also utilized Kyle Monangai a lot more running between the tackles. That is perfect balance because Swift running between the tackles really isn't his thing.
And that was in Chicago?
I was in Chicago, yep.
Okay. All right. So let's head to Minnesota. And how did you guys fare against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah. It was a absolute joke. If there were no bad luck, we'd have no luck at all, or something to that effect. Carson Wentz became Carson Wentz. He would stare down his receivers. He would be off target on his throws, and he was absolutely horrible. We had opportunities galore. Jordan Addison was wide open on one drive like 4 times, and all he had to do is hit him in stride, and nope. Even get him close, nope. There was threw one behind that he did catch that was nice, but it was just everybody in the Minnesota Vikings fan base is ready to call it quits. We're only 3-3. Still the best division in football. But everybody is like, no, we can't win this way. And we can't. Carson Wentz is a backup quarterback. He's a good backup quarterback. He's going to win you 50% of the games. He's won us 50% of the games. It's real frustrating. Our elite pass defense gave up 3 massive plays. And Jalen Hurts went home with a perfect pass rating. And it's just like, oh, come on, guys. You
Especially
sat
this
there,
season.
you sat there and you kept them. The defense kept them in check the whole game, except for when they get on that 3rd down and boom, long. It's just like, it was a headache of a game. I probably drank 6, 7, 8 scotches during the game. It was just a miserable game.
Was that Isaiah Rodgers that got beat on the Devontae Smith long touchdown and the A.J. Brown touchdown?
He got beat on one of them. I think it was former Detroit Lion. What's his name?
Okuda,
QB3 or CB3 that got beat on the other one. It was a miserable.
Got to send that guy back to Detroit.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
The fact that we sent Mekhi Blackman packing, and Mekhi Blackman's doing great this season. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for the Vikings fan base. Now, everybody's wanting to get JJ McCarthy back. We'll get into that here in the second half of the show. But it is what it is. We're beat up. We had most of the offensive line back. Now there's questionable on a couple of them. And it is, like I said in the chat before the show, it is the week I wish to forget.
And somebody during the last show asked about the center. Didn't you guys have some snap issues, or at least one that I can recall?
Oh yes, there was a big one. Blake Brandel, in his only 2nd game starting, launched one over Wentz's head. We were in the red zone. It put it back. Our kicker, Will Reichert, who was golden, he had 5 field goals, hit one from 59, but it was just, he was being beat up all day. Now, he was going against one of the best defensive tackles in the business. So I sort of expected that, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. It was just a day full of misery is what it was for Vikings fans.
It was a pretty close game, though. Came down to the end.
It came down to the end. We were still in it. But we should have. It's one of those that we should have won, but didn't. There were some questionable referee calls or non-calls or calls. It was crazy. TJ Hawkinson caught a touchdown pass that Carson Wentz made him lay out for.
Great catch.
They said it was not a catch because it touched the ground, but it can touch the ground, and it wasn't the ref crew at the stadium. They said it was a touchdown. It was New York called in and said, nope, it's not a touchdown.
New York got you too.
Yeah, and it's those moments that, could switch momentum, because momentum's a real thing, that it's killed, it's nothing, it's blah. But we kept fighting through it. It just wasn't. It wasn't to be. When Wentz is Wentz, it's hard to win football games.
What is Wentz? What is when Wentz is Wentz? What do you feel Wentz is?
Carson Wentz, from when he got drafted and played for the Eagles, and then his great 2019 season where he was MVP run up all the way up until he blew his knee up with a few games to go. Wentz has a tendency of not doing things he's supposed to. He tends to, he'll fixate on a receiver, which you talked about Caleb Williams doing. It's not a great habit to get into. And he'll change plays at the line of scrimmage, which quarterbacks have the right to do, but he generally chooses the wrong one. And it's just, he can throw a very good ball and hit almost every blade of grass on the field, but then he can go a whole game where he's throwing 5 yards short, 3 yards behind, all of that stuff. And he just was one of those bad games of his. That's Wentz. He can have a great game, or he can be absolute trash.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch. I was flipping back and forth, so I didn't get to focus on the Vikings-Eagles game. But the Vikings-Steelers game, it was like Wentz was having a bipolar type thing. Like, there were times where he just held the ball too long in the face of the pass rush and looked like he couldn't see any of the field. And then there were times where he was throwing darts all around the field. So
exactly.
I guess that's the Carson Wentz conundrum. At 30 plus, although we've seen a lot of quarterbacks lately have resurgences, I don't anticipate Wentz will have that Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold resurgence, but we've been seeing resurgences. So that was my fear. That was my fear when Wentz got put in the starting lineup. I'm like, here goes Kevin Connell resurrecting another quarterback, but thankfully for Bears Nation, it doesn't look like Wentz is savable.
It doesn't. Hey there, June.
What up, though?
We're talking about my game, which has got me in a bad mood. So it is what it is. But Q's given some great insight.
Yeah. But before we get to the Lions game, we're going to give a brief recap of the Green Bay Packers game. I will spare you the long version of the recap and get you all the way down to the end of the fourth quarter. The Green Bay Packers were actually down the entire game up until the very end. They were down 23-20. They had an opportunity to kick a field goal, and the head coach was actually going to send the replacement kicker, I believe, out there to tie up the game. Jordan Love had this long look on his face of dismay, and he decided to switch lanes and go for it. So this was a very pretty ballsy play to make in a game that they were trailing from behind the entire time. And Jordan Love was able to find Tucker Kraft for a 15-yard reception to keep the drive going. They would eventually go down, and Josh Jacobs was able to run into the end zone, completing the game at 27-23 against the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. How long do we think that the Packers can skate by with these, losing to the Browns and tying with the Cowboys? The Cowboys may be something. It's hard to say, but and Michael Parsons also was the defensive player.
Lost to the Panthers, so whatever goodwill they built up right after that. So the Cowboys turned around and lost to the Panthers. Not that I think the Panthers are a bad team, but I think if you are something, like you said, if you're looking like something, you got to beat the Panthers. Panthers are 4-3, but I still feel like if you want to be a playoff team, that's a game you got to win. You got to beat those teams on the schedule.
Absolutely. And Michael Parsons, I don't know what his actual stat line was, but he finished he won the Defensive Player of the Week, I believe. So
He was dominant in that fourth quarter. He's been quiet the last few games. He was dominant in that fourth quarter, though. He took over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So so obviously that trade is working out swimmingly so far, I guess. It seems to be recovering from that little injury that he had going on, but we'll have to see. The Lions will have to wait until Thanksgiving to get their get back, but I don't know.
Back. We all swept the Packers last year,
but we lost in the first game of the year.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, I'd like to forget about it too, but that is circled on my calendar because that's the last time we get a chance to play them. So, June, any thoughts on that Packers game or just the Packers in general? Any ill words for them? I need that. I need some negativity now.
FTP.
There we go. Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
I always check to see what the fans are saying. And what I'm getting from the Packers is their fans are calling them mediocre at best.
That's about right.
Smart.
I agree. It's the fifth straight game where they won by less than 4 points or less. And they're calling themselves pretenders because they lead the division with a tie.
Yeah.
In all fairness, when you look at every fan's base, Reddit community group or other little groups on I haven't seen one out of the 32 teams, except for the Colts. The Colts are the only fan base that's happy right now. I'm serious. The Chiefs are still concerned, although things are looking up lately. The Bills are certainly not happy. The Eagles are not happy despite getting a W. There is no fan base that is happy right now. The Buccaneers, even their fan base, they came into that Lions game 5-1, but every game was a one-score win. So they're looking at like how long is their luck going to last, and it ran out against the Lions. The Lions are dealing with injuries again. Somebody has that voodoo doll. It's just tearing y'all asses up.
Man.
I mean, when did it ever stop, though? I mean, that's just kind of always been our MO. But
listen, I can drop you my Cash App, my Zelle. I can see what I could do. I could maybe get that voodoo doll away. You could believe me or you can't believe me, but it can't hurt.
Right.
We'll talk after the show. B. Falsey. You Zelle me, I'll see what I can do. Maybe the injuries will stop. Maybe I'll get Aiden Hutchinson next, but make sure you hit my Zelle. Make sure you hit my Zelle. Keep it safe.
We're not sending anything to Bears fans.
Listen.
I got some counterfeit bills if you know.
No, I need it in Zelle so that we know it's actual. I'm so just saying. Right. Listen, this could be capped. I may not have access to a voodoo doll. I may have, but you know what? What's not capped is if you send the money, maybe your guys stay safe. That's all I'm saying. It can't hurt.
Something might happen. Yeah. But yeah, that parlays right into the last game of the week. The Lions played the Buccaneers on Monday night in a double header affair on Monday night. June, what did you see from our Lions today or Monday?
I saw a defense that stepped up. I saw a defensive backfield that actually made some plays when it needed to. I saw an offense that did what they needed to do, even though there were some times where we left some points on the field, but at the same time, when you fast start, you're up 14-0, you're expected to win. I don't care who you are in this league. You should be able to hold on to a 2-touchdown lead, even though we've seen stranger things. The offense did just enough, and the defense stepped up big time.
Yeah, so the Lions game was very reminiscent of the last time we played the Buccaneers, almost a year to the day, where we outgained them. We controlled the time of possession, but the Buccaneers defense is tough. They're a good tackling team. They held us to 3 out of 13 on third downs. We made 1 of 2 field goals. Both of them were over 50 yards. And they were able to turn us over. We had 1 interception from Jared Goff, and I believe he lost a fumble deep down in Tampa Bay zone. But overall, it was a pretty dominant effort from the defense. Very impressive considering our top 4 DBs, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Terrion Arnold, and DJ Reed, as well as Avonte Maddox, were all out of the game. But we were able to hold the quarterback to 228 passing yards on 50 attempts. So that was good for 4 yards per actual attempt. So not a bad effort from a mash unit of a lot of practice squad guys and guys that barely made the team out of camp. So I'm very impressed with them. I was watching the game ball ceremony, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, got to be a secondary member. And it was such a good joint effort from everybody that the 2 game balls on defense actually went to Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes, who also had great games as well. They had a sack apiece, and Tyrus Wheat had a sack and a half. So a pretty good effort all around as far as the pass rush is concerned. The big play on offense was the 86-yard run by Jahmyr Gibbs, which I think 78. He had. It was 78. And yeah, that was he had one of the fastest sprint speeds in all the NFL this year. I think it was a couple guys where had some. I think Tyreek Hill had some things to say about how fast he was, and Barry Sanders is taking note that when he's in the building, Jahmyr tends to step it up a notch. And we saw some Barry-esque moves. He had a play where he kind of ran into the hole, got stuck, and made a quick spin move to the outside to score his second touchdown. So very impressive effort from Jahmyr Gibbs, but all around strong effort. We're heading into the bye week. We've talked about the injuries. We should come out of the bye week a much more healthy team. June, we talked about it a little bit, but who should be ready on the outside of it? With Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch is obviously coming back from the suspension. Kirby Joseph. Anybody else you can think of? I kind of named them. My bad.
Davenport.
Yeah. Joseph said it. Davenport too. We'll
I'm not expecting Davenport after the bye week. I think you just about covered it. DJ Reed, I expect him shortly after the bye week. I don't expect him to be back in week 9. So I think you about got all of it. We do have some guys coming back though. Rodriguez, the linebacker, hasn't taken a snap all year. He should be back within the next four weeks or so. It's going to be interesting to see. And what you do with all these players that have stepped up. Do you send them back to the Shadow realm or what? I mean, I saw a post that was crazy because they said no Branch, no Kirby, so they were the problem.
Man, it's like, I mean, you can't do too much better than that. We had a guy, Arthur Mollett was a guy that got the interception where Cade Otton had it kind of lodged up against his shoulder, and he was able to snatch it. And then Meek Robertson punched out a fumble as well. So, some effort. We're pretty familiar with the Meek Robertson. He played a lot last year, but a lot of efforts from guys that we were not super familiar with or didn't have a lot of experience. Somebody in the comments had a list of guys. What's his name? Whiteside, Nick Whiteside. He's actually from the area and went to Saginaw Valley State. He had I think he had 0 receptions against and had a 90 PFF rating. This is a guy that was a practice squad casualty or might have got waived, but he looked good. He looked good coming out of camp. It just was a kind of a numbers game. So there's going to be some tough decisions to make. Thomas Harper as well. We got him from the Oakland Raiders at the end of training camp. So it's going to be some tough decisions to make, but it's good problems to have. A team that's too deep. That's something that we've never. We rarely get the opportunity to say something about that. But, June, any other thoughts before we hit this break?
No. Go ahead.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who got a game ball on the offensive side? hopefully Jahmyr Gibbs did.
Yeah, so Jahmyr Gibbs was the one that got the and he actually handed it right off to Penei Sewell because he was able to.
Good man.
Yeah. He did what he
was
did what he was supposed to.
out there. Penei was mauling people.
Yeah, and he's very athletic. You see him pulling, and you see him, hitting down the field.
He's the best
full
right
speed.
tackle in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a big boy moving like that. We haven't seen him, and I don't know if we will, but we haven't seen him go out for any passes this year. That's probably for the best. I probably shouldn't even bring that up, but just an athlete. I mean, probably one of the best players in all of the NFC North in general. So,
how many yards from scrimmage did Gibbs have?
Ooh, I want to say over. I want to say like
80. He had 82 reception yards and 137 in running.
He had 218.
Yeah,
a career high.
Only one touch in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Tampa, they spent a lot of time with the ball, but like I said, they were not able to knock off the big plays. So it was a lot of dink and dunk, and they probably used Montgomery. They probably went to the power back to kind of wear him down a little bit. But that's pretty wild that he only had one touch. I would not have guessed that. So. But that is the week that was. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to get into the previews for next week. Actually, before we get into next week, I wanted to talk about the list of Hall of Fame candidates going into next year. I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at that. Dave, you sent it to me, but Q, did you get a chance to look at who the candidates for next year?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
The Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame candidate, there was 52 players that were selected as candidates to go into the Hall of Fame next year. Did you get a chance to? I mean, I literally just pulled it up, but did you get a chance to look at them?
No, I didn't. Who's on there?
Whole bunch of dudes, but the notable ones, you got Drew Brees, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden, London Fletcher, Harrison. Any guys, just from the little list that I threw out there, any shoo-ins that you could hear that you can think of out of the list that I threw out?
The first 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Drew Brees and Larry are automatics. The wide receivers, Torrey Holt got to get in at some point, right? Like, how is he not in the hall yet?
Opportunity.
How was that guy not in seriously? Greatest show on turf. He's got well over 10,000 receiving yards. One of the best receivers of his era, consistently. I don't understand how he's not in. I think Steve Smith gets in.
Isaac Bruce a little bit.
There were times where he kind of started usurping Isaac Bruce.
Well, he's younger than him, right?
Yes,
he came after him. So,
Isaac was there in the 90s. Right. I think Torrey might have got there in 99 or 2000. Somewhere around there. Isaac was there in the mid 90s. Remember, Isaac battled hamstring injuries, kind of got off to a slow start. We knew he was always explosive, but a couple of those years in the mid 90s, he battled injuries. I want to say Kuechly. I want to say Kuechly gets in, right? He's a
Luke.
Luke Kuechly. Yeah, okay. He's got to get in there.
There's an asterisk.
I know he retired early, but he's got a DPOY. I think when you get DPOYs, it's hard not to get in. I know his career was short, but I think he's 3-4 times. Huh?
Did he play? I feel like was his career kind of cut short, or am I tripping?
It was short. I think he retired about 28, 29, but Terrell Davis is in there. Terrell Davis had about a 3.5-year run. Kuechly did about. He has about his career was cut short, but he's leaving with about 3 or 4 All Pros. So, there's Hall of Famers with a decades of work that don't have 3 or 4 All Pros. So I think Kuechly's in there. I think Frank Gore's a tough one for me. I mean, I don't like to dismiss anybody's stats for longevity, but he's like, what is he, third on the all-time rushing list? I don't think anybody alive has Frank Gore in their top 5 or 10 running backs. You don't when you think of your top 10 running backs, you don't think of Frank Gore, but I think he's sitting at 16,000 career rushing yards. He's right behind Walter Payton, ahead of guys like Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's not a sexy name for whatever reason.
No, I feel like he was just very consistent when he wasn't injured. So he was very consistent, but I never looked at him as dominant. So when I look at a Hall of Famer, you have to have the consistency, but I think you have to have an era of dominance where you were considered one of the best at your position. I think that's a prerequisite to getting into the Hall of Fame. So you look at guys that accumulate lots of stats because they've been here for a long time. I think that's Frank Gore. If I was casting a vote, I don't think I'd be casting Frank Gore as my vote. Now, a lot of that is dependent on class. I think you can vote. I think 7 from each class get in, I believe.
No, they've reduced it. It's down to like 4.
They reduced it?
4 or 5. Yeah.
Well, then Frank Gore's not getting in, man. Maybe
I misspoke earlier.
I don't see a class where he's one of the elite guys to get in.
And Torrey Holt was a finalist last year.
Who was the finalist last year?
Torrey Holt was. Same with Steve Senior. And Reggie.
Then he'll get in. Yeah, I remember when Richard Dent was struggling to get in. I couldn't understand how Richard Dent wasn't in. I mean, he was arguably the best pass rusher on those. No, he was the best pass rusher on those Bears monster the midweight 80s teams and early 90s teams. So I think Torrey gets in this time. Some guys just get jerked around the first couple of times.
Surefire. I would
Larry sure thing, Drew's sure thing. Those are the sure things I got from this class. Although I think Jason Witten and Greg Olsen, I think their broadcasting careers will help them too.
Yep. Yeah, puts you out there for sure. Dave, I know
former
you
Bear Greg Olsen.
Mm-hmm.
Former Bear Greg Olsen. I like to add that.
I was thinking more Panther. Was he more of a Panther?
No, he's definitely a Bear. Definitely a Bear. Bear down. He's gonna go in there with his bear hat on. Bear down.
Chill out, Foster. Chill out, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm tripping. And so, Dave, I know you're all about the big round bellies. I'm partial to Lomas Brown because he's a former Lion. But any names that step out that jump out to you as far as the offensive line is concerned?
Oh, there's some really good names on that list. Willie Anderson, of course. Lomas Brown.
Wait, time out, guys. Lomas Brown isn't in there? He's not in the Hall of Fame? Growing up as a kid watching him,
Exactly.
Yeah, wow. That's what I don't understand about the Hall of Fame. I don't understand how a guy like Lomas Brown has not gotten that love. Him and Glover were paving the way for Barry. Underappreciated guys in my book.
But it's lack of Super Bowls. That's a big part of it.
That'll do it.
I thought you were going to ask me about Gary Anderson. He's on the list.
No.
That kicker. The only kicker not to miss a kick all season.
Did he have the one bar?
Until the NFC Championship game.
It's Frisco.
That's the Vikings, the 15-1 1998 team.
Yeah.
The team, I remember watching the team as a kid. I'm like, this might be in contention for the best team ever. And
they produced more points than any team in history.
The defense was strong. I remember John Randall. What was that linebacker? Dwayne Rudd?
It was probably Dwayne Rudd was there, but it was our middle linebacker was at the time. Oh, God, he's a legend too. Number 55. But
yeah, that was a good team. Well balanced. Robert Smith, Jake Reed, Randy Moss, Chris Carter. I didn't think anybody would stop them. Memory lane.
Yep, and Atlanta wide left. Fuck.
June, anybody you see that sticks out to you?
The first one was Drew Brees. That's no doubt. No doubt. The numbers he put up, he's a Super Bowl winner. Definitely. And Larry Fitzgerald, definitely are going. You mentioned a couple of names after that, and I was nodding my head yes. I forgot
Does Drew Brees make it over Eli Manning, who was a finalist last year?
Eli Manning.
That's close. That
gets
is
in.
close. I'm joking.
Well, Eli's got how many rings? Just one or two?
He's got two.
He's got two.
Eli got 2.
Because Breeze probably has better numbers, but
He probably has better numbers, but
I can guarantee that.
yeah. So,
But all Eli beat was the Patriots.
Yeah.
yeah. The undefeated Patriots too.
That's something to speak on, right? Yeah.
Reggie Wayne also in that class. That receiver class is loaded because you got
man.
Fitzgerald, Torrey Holt, Steve Smith, and Reggie Wayne. Somebody's not going to get in.
Reggie Wayne was one of them ones. Steve Smith was cold too.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's going to be a really great or 2 really great receivers not getting in.
Yep.
It's a good era for that.
And that's what sucks about what the Hall of Fame's turning into.
Right.
Oh, Terrell Suggs. I think he's a shoe-in too.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Terrell Suggs, the Bears are facing the Baltimore Ravens. What are you looking forward to going into next week?
I'm looking forward to seeing how Caleb responds. It was a down week for him and an otherwise good week for the Bears. And the accuracy just hasn't been there the last 2 weeks. He started off the season strong, the first half against the Vikings, fizzled out, had a couple really bad overthrows, including one to DJ Moore. It looked like it was they just weren't on the same page. I don't know if DJ was running a 9 and Caleb thought he was running a 8. But I'm looking to see how Caleb Williams responds. This is the Ravens defense that has been down the majority of the season. I think they're getting back Roquan Smith. I don't know. I think Kyle Hamilton is out or on the mend.
Yeah.
But the Ravens are giving up a lot of points. And it just hasn't been to good teams like Buffalo. They gave up a lot to the Texas offense, and the Texas offense has been struck. Now, obviously, they didn't have Lamar Jackson, and when you have an offense putting you in bad field position, that can wear on a defense. But I'm looking to see how Caleb responds. He's going back to his home state, going back to Maryland. Ravens secondary hasn't been good. I want to see DJ Moore finally have a game this week. I want to see if they get Luther Burden, Colson Loveland involved. If Lamar does play, I'm looking forward to seeing how Dennis Allen defends him. He's been sending a lot of guys on the blitz. He's been sending Brisker and Gordon. The ones, it can be good to blitz quarterbacks, but there's 2 ways the quarterbacks can beat the blitz, hitting the hot routes. You leave your quarterbacks on the island long time. You get them exposed, get them caught with their pants down on a deep route. And with Lamar Jackson, he could beat the blitz with his legs. That's the dangerous thing about Lamar. It's not just the arm where he could beat the blitz. He can see a corner coming off, the weak side, and he could escape the pocket and burn you that way. So I'm looking forward to see how Dennis Allen comes up with a game plan to defend Lamar Jackson. I always like to see the best players play, except for when they play us. This week, I wouldn't mind Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't mind Lamar taking another week to get healthy.
All right. And the next game, actually, I should have started with you, Dave. You guys play tomorrow. What are your keys and what are you looking forward to going up against the Chargers in LA, it looks like?
Well, I think LA is either the cheapest game available or second the cheapest game available. You can get a ticket for as low as, I think I heard today, $24.
Wow.
That's crazy. It's because Chargers don't have any fans in LA, or very few of them. I'm looking for a slop fest because both teams are so injured. It's going to be interesting. It could go either way. It depends on which Wentz we get. If we get Wentz's Wentz, then we're probably going to lose by about 3 points. If we get good Wentz, which hopefully we will. I heard today he is 7-0 on Thursday nights. So If we get good wins, we're going to should easily beat this team. They're down in their 6th-string tackles. They are hurting big time. Now, they obviously still have Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert can kill you in a heartbeat throwing the ball. So it's going to be an interesting game on prime time tomorrow night on Amazon Prime. We needed to stay in plus 500 range and still, be considered every team in the NFC North is above 500. But it's going to be just more of the same while we wait for JJ McCarthy. And JJ is not playing.
That game is so tough for me to call. Like, as a bettor, I don't know which way to go. Vikings Chargers. That's truly a toss-up.
Well, Carson Wentz is undefeated on Thursday. You said 7-0.
7-0.
Okay, well, no decent odds, but I guess all good things must come to an end. So you can also look at
Chargers are favored by 3.5.
You all just jinxed them. You all just jinxed Carson.
Oh, just Carson Wentz. Oh,
yeah, I'm sure we just did. And
well, actually,
Dave, pitchforks and torches heading to Egan on Friday.
What's that?
There'll be pitchforks and torches heading to Egan on Friday.
Oh boy. So obviously the Lions are on a bye week, so we will wait on that preview because that'll be a nice little preview head to head. But the Green Bay Packers are going to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers, who are coming off a loss last Thursday to the Fighting Flaccos. And Flacco's his first game or second game?
No, that was his first. No, that was his second. He played the Packers. He did play the Packers.
Right.
And almost beat the Packers.
Right.
He almost beat them.
As everybody almost has.
Y'all better take Flacco. Stop playing with Flacco. Everybody in this division will see him. Do not take Flacco lightly. He might throw a poop or two, but he could burn you.
Yeah, well, we already beat the Browns. Well, we already beat Flacco with his original team, and then.
But you got to see with the Bengals. You gonna get back.
No,
he might slide on y'all.
We beat the Bengals already.
We played the Bengals without.
Right. You all did play the Bengals. Okay.
We're the reason why they traded for him, because they decided that Browning wasn't cutting it. So, we were part of that domino falling. So, but yeah. So the Steelers versus the Green Bay Packers. What do you guys thoughts? Do you guys have any predictions on who you think will win that game?
I'm hoping it's not the Packers.
Right.
I'm not real happy with the Steelers, but I'm hoping it's not the Packers.
Yeah.
That's for me as a Bears fan, and when you bring up Packers and I see Aaron Rodgers, I mean, can I confess something, guys? I'm still traumatized. I do not like Aaron Rodgers. When I see him, I still see green and puke yellow. So it's like a Spider-Man meme. When I see the Packers and I see Aaron Rodgers, it's the Spider-Man meme. I don't know. I want them both to lose. I want them both to lose bad. I don't know how it's possible, but that's the first game I want to see where both teams walk off with an L. Specifically, Aaron Rodgers. That game, I could see Aaron Rodgers he's going to be motivated. He is going to be, for sure, motivated. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in that game. I think you're going to see the best Aaron Rodgers you've seen in a long time. But at the same token, I'm sure the Packers are motivated to not let him beat them. So that is the division game outside of the Bears that I really want to see this weekend. I think I'd edge Packers, though.
Tie game incoming. Yeah, give the Packers another tie.
Can we give them both a loss? Is that possible? Has that ever happened in the NFL? Can they both leave with a loss?
I agree with you, Q. I'm all for it.
Yeah. All right.
June, what's your thoughts?
Yeah.
FTP, I got the Steelers. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I want to see Pittsburgh win. I don't want to see Green Bay succeed at nothing. They've been barely winning all season except for against us. They totally dominated us, and I'm gonna keep that grudge.
And so we got a little bit of time before we wrap up. We're getting pretty close to the trade deadline. Are you guys? When does anybody know when the actual trade deadline is?
That's a great question. It's coming up relatively
See,
soon.
the NFL trade deadline it's not
It's
active
not
like
like
the NBA trade.
No,
So
it's way different.
so it's November 4th. So
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
Tuesday, November
Thank
4th.
you.
So it's coming up.
okay. So I didn't give you guys any opportunity to really do any research or anything like that, but I'm sure you guys have evaluated and spent enough time knowing what areas you would like to improve. If every team was if everybody was active at the trade deadline, starting with Dave, what area would you like to see the team improve in the next couple weeks?
Quarterback. I want to see JJ McCarthy.
He dressed, right? Didn't he dress last week?
Oh,
I
he
saw him.
dressed. He's the emergency QB3, and he'll be the emergency QB3 tomorrow night as well.
Okay. Meaning that he's not healthy or he is healthy?
Well,
I never understand that emergency quarterback thing.
If you are physically, I mean, you are ready to go, I guess. But if all else
Bro,
fails,
you've seen any given Sunday, man, where both the backup and the starter gets hurt. That's the next person is the emergency quarterback.
he's
here's
the
the thing.
starting quarterback, though.
but he's
Right.
out.
I get the emergency.
That's still bothering him. He's
So
not fully
if he's
mobile.
good enough to come in. Okay, if he's good enough to come in, shouldn't he be good enough? That's my conundrum with B. Foster. So you're good enough to come in if somebody gets hurt, but you're not good enough to start.
Well, two people got to get hurt, but
Yes.
Okay, two people.
which is crazy,
Kevin O'Connell said that he would have to specifically call plays that would not endanger his injury.
Handoff.
Okay,
So
I can expect that.
a major adjustment to the
Mm-hmm. But I want to see JJ McCarthy because we need to find out: are we buyers or are we sellers? Are we in it or are we not? If we go down and we're now 3-4 after tomorrow night's game, our chance for playoffs drops to under 10%. So then we're possibly sellers. There's rumors out of Boston that the New England Patriots want to trade for Jordan Addison. All right. Now, if we're 4-3, there's no way that's going to happen. If we're 3-4 and then maybe drop another one after that, there's a possibility that it happens so that we can get, a first and plus whatever for Jordan Addison. It's interesting.
You think you get a first for Jordan?
Oh, a first plus.
Whoa.
That rarely happens, Dave.
Oh,
Right.
no, there's tons of examples where it's happened. We've looked it up.
And he would be the guy to get it.
And he would be the guy.
See, I love Jordan.
A wide receiver one. Yes.
I love
that
Jordan.
caliber of wide receiver?
Right. That's my question. Is he a wide receiver one?
We know that no one's going to be the over Jordan Jefferson. Nobody's going to be the wide receiver one. But I guess in any other scenario, you think that he would be to that.
On 2/3 of the teams in the league, he'd probably be the wide receiver one.
Better than anybody on New England. So
yes. Yes.
Okay.
And that's why they want him.
But he's kind of a risk also.
He is, but hey, you've got
we haven't seen him for a full season yet.
It's like Jameson Williams. If we're being real, like would we consider him a wide receiver one? Obviously not with St. Brown, but 2/3. Is it a 2/3 with Jameson Williams too, or is that bad?
No. I mean, as a neutral observer, Jordan Addison is a much more complete receiver with a much more. He's better at the complete route tree. Jameson is a guy that's, deep routes. He runs pretty much deep routes only. Although we haven't seen maybe Detroit give him the opportunity, but you look at Jordan Russell, the way he sinks his hit at the top of the routes, the way he gets in and out of his breaks. I mean, you can move him to the slot. he is an all-around receiver. Like I like Jordan Addison. I don't know if he's a number one receiver though. I mean, that's speculation because you'll never see him as a go-to guy as long as Jefferson healthy. But
Right.
Jordan Russell is a complete receiver, complete route tree. I'd take him over J-Mo. I think J-Mo's kind of stuck in a wide receiver 2 thing. He's kind of just a deep threat guy.
Yeah. Jameson's definitely a reach. Yeah, it was a reach to compare the two, but I tried it. Bears. Where if you were to make a trade, what area would you key in on?
Well, there are rumors circulating of a Bears trade. So, as we know, the Titans are another. They're not going anywhere. I think they're 1-6 right now. So they're going to be in the top 5 of the draft again next year, barring something unforeseen. So there are rumors that they're going to be moving Jeffrey Simmons. As you know, the Bears have had difficulty. Well, not the last couple of weeks. The Bears have been stopping the run and getting pressure. But the pressure that we are manufacturing is coming from places like the linebacker, safety, corner. We're not really getting the pressure with our front 4. We're not really getting that much pressure in the interior. Jeffrey Simmons is available. He's an all-pro. The Titans are looking to move him. He doesn't fit in their timeline. I think he's 28, 29. So I hope that the Bears are aggressive in pursuit of Jeffrey Simmons. He's a guy still in his prime. He makes the whole defensive line better. He's an instant double team. You got to account for him on every snap, whether he's lined up over the center, lined up in between the guard and tackle. He's versatile. He's big. He collapsed the pocket. So there were rumors that the Bears and Titans are talking. I hope that comes to fruition. I feel like Jeffrey Simmons is the piece we need if we feel like we want to make the playoffs this year. So I think Jeffrey Simmons. There were some rumors swirling about the Bears acquiring a running back, but I think Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift have done enough right now where we shouldn't use future assets to acquire a running back. If we do want to upgrade in the offseason, I think we should do it via the draft because, running backs can be found rounds 1 through 5. You can find them 6, 7 for the cheap. So I think the Bears should hold off on acquiring one of the veterans. They talked a couple weeks ago about Breece Hall, but I think Breece Hall is a free agent at the end of the year. I don't want to trade assets for a guy who could walk at the end of the year or at the beginning of free agency. So if anybody is on that block, it's Jeffrey Simmons they should acquire. I would love to get Max Crosby, but I don't think the Raiders are ready to budge off him or move on from him.
No, Max Crosby actually went to school in Michigan. He went to Eastern Michigan. So if there's anywhere that he is going to go, and I think he actually made a statement saying if there's a team that he would want to go to, is Detroit. So he is off the list for anybody else, certainly in the NFC North. I know Max Crosby personally, and he told me. He hit you up. He said, "Hey, man,
he definitely wants to be a Bear." He said that he wants to continue the tradition of strong defense, and that he loves Urlacher, he loves Singletary, and he said, Q, I would love to be a Bear. Is there anything you can do to make it happen? I told him I'd see what I could do. Got to talk to your people. I'll talk to my people. We got to get the Raiders to loosen up their vice grip on you. But yeah, he really wants to be a Bear.
Well, I was late, and that was because I had talked to him before the show, and he said he changed his mind, and he was definitely thinking, about going to the Bears, but he wants to be a Lion instead. He said he changed his mind, had a sudden change of heart. Don't know where it came from, but hey.
This Max guy, he might be playing all of us. At the end of the day,
gotta watch.
I thought Max was a good friend, and here he is texting June. I don't know what's going on with him.
It was a phone call.
Personal.
Oh wow. Oh. Yeah. Max gave you a phone call. He gave me text. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll bring that up to him when he comes to Chicago for our annual fishing outing. So.
Okay.
June, who if the Lions made one move, Brad Holmes made one move to address a part of our team, where would you want us to go?
You already know what it is, Foster. It's definitely going to be on the pass rush side of things. I think we do have I think we got one side but the other side is the jury's still out for the other side. So I think if you can make a
The
move,
Davenport side.
if you
Just
can
put it
make
out there.
I was thinking more Muhammad, but the pass rush on the other side, that could be solidified. That would be my first choice to go after. You don't have to get a major star, but you can get a decent contributor. If you can get someone along the lines of what the Lions did last year with Zadarius Smith to pair with Hutchinson, I think that's a win type of situation.
Yeah, I'm not mad at anybody that there's certainly a point that can be made to address that opposite edge rushing position. Although Muhammad and Tyrus Wheat and everybody else, and even the linebackers have been contributing pretty well on the sack side of things. We're actually third in the league right now with 23 total sacks. So a nice joint effort to and then we also the reemergence. Aleem McNeil made his first his return off injury this past week. So that was that's going to be a big change for us as well. But I would not be mad at us addressing our interior offensive line. I think right now that's our weakest. I think that's our weakest aspect right now is the offensive line. It's been kind of spotty off and on. We've given up probably more sacks than we're accustomed to. So if we can find somebody to better solidify it, I would not be mad at that. But yeah, if Brett Holmes chooses, so even though I don't know, he's kind of funny acting about that edge rushing position. When you bring it up, you ask him about it. He's got a little attitude when you bring it up. So I don't know what he'll do, if anything at all. But team's looking pretty good. I guess we'll have to see how we look on the other end of that bye week once we get a little bit more healthy. So, but that will pretty much wrap it up. Where can we find you guys? GQ, it was a pleasure having you as a guest. You need to, pop back up more often, but where can we find you for any Bears or anything else Chicago related?
Yeah, we ain't seen GQ in it, man.
Once football season starts, that's where 100% of my focus is. Hopefully you won't see me again until February because last few years you've started seeing me in basketball in December because there's been nothing to talk about for the Bears. So hopefully,
gotcha. I thought you were going to tell us you guys were
see...
headed to the Super Bowl or something.
We are. Script. I already reviewed the NFL script. You're gonna love it. Bears versus Chiefs, and we end the Patrick Mahomes dynasty. No, but you can find us on Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We're there. Facebook, you can find me, Quentin L, QUENTINEL. You can find me on Facebook. I'm there on Instagram, on OGQ, TikTok, pretty much all your socials.
All right, Dave.
You can find me on Vikings First and Skull, YouTube, podcast aggregators, all of them, everywhere. And we've got not only this show being recorded right now, we have X's and Skulls being recorded right now. And tonight at 8, we have a special edition where we have Alex Katzen of Chargers Wire joining us to preview the game tomorrow night on NFL. Well, not NFL Plus, if you've got that, but also on Amazon Prime to watch the Vikings versus the Chargers in LA. Cheapest ticket around the NFL. A family of 4 can go for under $100 if they wanted to.
Yeesh.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
I won't get you a beer in Ford Field. And June, where can they find us?
You can find me and B Foster on Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. And you can follow us on all the aggregators. That's anywhere you can listen to a podcast. That's platforms like Pandora, YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just make sure you follow us. Type in Bleachers, the Speakers, FFSN in your search, and make sure you're following us. Put the notification bell on so when we drop content, you will get an alert and download those episodes. We like to see where you're coming from.
And they do great work, folks. So even my fans that are joining me today, follow them. They do great work. And there's also their baseball side, Corner to Copa.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Foster.
Well, we are actually we're doing simulcast right now. We're kind of putting them out on both sides of things. But we have a brand new YouTube channel, which is called Corner to Copa, which is I think still kind of difficult to find when you search it up because we're building it up. But yeah, well, we got a lot of the Tigers season is over. It's almost the World Series time. So we'll be, covering off-season stuff. So prospects, free agency will start pretty soon, and pretty much everything all over the major league. So that is Corner to Copa. And as we close out, what do they say in Chicago?
What do they say in Chicago?
Yeah,
they say a lot of things you can't repeat, but
yeah,
but
a whole bunch.
For the Bears, we say bear down, bear claws up.
Right. Dave.
Oh, we obviously say Skull Vikings.
What we say in the D-Town, man?
That's a good roar.
Vicious.
Thanks for joining us.
Get your lick back.